The morning sun peeked through the windows of Atlanta Memorial Hospital as Jasmine Taylor walked into work. She was 32 years old, single, and had been working as a nurse for the past 7 years. Her beautiful dark skin glowed as she smiled at everyone she passed in the hallway. The other nurses always said she was the kindest person in the hospital. That Monday morning seemed like any other day for Jasmine. She had her usual cup of coffee in her hand and was checking her patient list when she heard laughter coming from the waiting room. It was a warm, genuine laugh that made her curious. Looking up from her papers, she saw a man in a wheelchair talking to an elderly patient. He was telling a funny story, and everyone around him was smiling. The man's name was Marcus Bennett. He was 35 years old and had been coming to the hospital for physical therapy for the past 2 years. Before his accident, Marcus worked as an architectural engineer, designing big buildings in the city. But one day, while checking a construction site, a heavy beam fell and hurt his legs badly. The doctors told him he might never walk again. Jasmine wasn't supposed to be in the waiting room that morning. She usually worked in a different part of the hospital, but one of her patients needed some forms, so she had to go there. As she walked past Marcus, she accidentally dropped her files. The papers scattered all over the floor. "Let me help you with that," Marcus said, moving his wheelchair closer. Even though it wasn't easy for him, he helped her pick up some papers that were near him. "Thank you," Jasmine said, looking up at him. Their eyes met, and something special happened at that moment. Marcus had the kindest brown eyes she had ever seen, and his smile was genuine and warm. "I'm Marcus," he said, holding out his hand. "I've seen you around the hospital before." "I'm Jasmine," she replied, shaking his hand. "I work in the pediatric ward." They started talking, and minutes turned into hours. Marcus told her about his life before the accident, how he used to climb mountains and travel the world. But what surprised Jasmine most was that he didn't seem bitter about his condition. Instead, he talked about how the accident had taught him to see life differently and appreciate the small things. "Would you believe I'm actually happier now than I was before?" Marcus said, his eyes twinkling. "When you lose something, you learn to value what you still have so much more." Jasmine found herself sitting next to him, completely forgetting about her other duties. They talked about their families, their dreams, and their favorite movies. Marcus made her laugh with his funny stories, and she felt comfortable sharing things she had never told anyone else. The waiting room slowly emptied as the day went on, but they hardly noticed. Marcus missed his physical therapy appointment, but he didn't seem to care. Something more important was happening. "I know this might sound strange," Marcus said nervously, "but would you like to have coffee with me sometime? There's this nice cafe across the street that has great wheelchair access." Jasmine smiled. She had dated other men before, but none of them had made her feel this way. She didn't see Marcus's wheelchair or his disability. She saw a kind, funny, and intelligent man who made her heart beat faster. "I would love to," she answered, and Marcus's face lit up with the biggest smile. As Jasmine walked back to her ward that day, she knew something in her life had changed. She didn't know it then, but this was the beginning of an amazing love story that would surprise everyone, including herself. After their first meeting, Jasmine and Marcus started going on regular dates. They would meet at the cafe across from the hospital every Tuesday and Thursday after Jasmine's shift ended. Marcus always arrived early, making sure to get their favorite table by the window. He loved watching Jasmine's face light up when she walked in, still wearing her nurse's uniform. But not everyone was happy about their relationship. When Jasmine told her best friend Lisa about Marcus, Lisa's reaction wasn't what she expected. "Are you sure about this?" Lisa asked one day while they were having lunch. "Taking care of a disabled person isn't easy, Jasmine. You're a nurse at work. Do you want to be a nurse at home too?" These words hurt Jasmine's feelings. "Marcus doesn't need a nurse," she told Lisa firmly. "He needs a partner, just like everyone else, and he takes care of me as much as I take care of him." Marcus had his own struggles too. Sometimes, when they went out to restaurants, people would stare at them. Some would look at Marcus with pity, while others seemed confused by seeing a black woman with a white disabled man. A few times, waiters would talk only to Jasmine, acting like Marcus wasn't even there. One evening, after a particularly difficult dinner where the waiter had been very rude, Marcus felt very sad. "Maybe your friends are right," he said quietly as they sat in his car. "You deserve someone who can walk beside you, dance with you, and give you a normal life. Jasmine turned to face him, her eyes serious. "Marcus Bennett, listen to me carefully," she said. "My life was normal before, but it wasn't special. You make it special. I don't care what anyone thinks. When I look at you, I don't see a wheelchair. I see the man who makes me laugh, who listens to my stories, and who understands me better than anyone else." Her words touched Marcus's heart deeply. That night, he decided to do something special to show Jasmine how much she meant to him. The next day, he called his old friend who owned a dance studio. 2 weeks later, Marcus surprised Jasmine by taking her to the studio. Inside, his friend, a dance instructor named David, was waiting for them. "I may not be able to dance standing up," Marcus said, "but David has been teaching me some wheelchair dance moves. Would you learn them with me?" Tears filled Jasmine's eyes as she nodded yes. For the next hour, David taught them how to dance together, with Jasmine moving alongside Marcus's wheelchair in beautiful patterns. It wasn't traditional dancing, but it was their own special way of moving to the music. As word spread about their relationship, more people started to see its beauty. Jasmine's parents, who were worried at first, changed their minds after meeting Marcus. Her father especially liked talking to Marcus about architecture, and her mother loved his polite manners and kind heart. Marcus's family welcomed Jasmine warmly too. His mother hugged her tightly the first time they met, saying she had never seen her son so happy. Even Lisa, after spending more time with them, admitted she had been wrong. "I get it now," Lisa told Jasmine one day. "When I see you two together, I don't see color or disability. I just see love." By the end of their third month together, Jasmine and Marcus had shown everyone around them that true love doesn't care about physical abilities or skin color. Their relationship wasn't always easy, but every challenge they faced made them stronger. They were breaking barriers and changing minds, one day at a time. As Jasmine spent more time at Marcus's house, she discovered something amazing. His home office was filled with beautiful drawings and building designs. One evening, while Marcus was making them coffee using the special kitchen counter he had designed for himself, Jasmine looked through his work. "These are beautiful," she said, holding up a drawing of a building with gently sloping ramps and wide doorways. "Did you draw all of these?" Marcus wheeled over with their coffee. "Yes, I did. After my accident, I realized how hard it is for people in wheelchairs to move around in most buildings. So now, I design buildings that everyone can use easily." Jasmine learned that Marcus worked from home for a big architecture company. His accident hadn't stopped him from being an architect. It had just changed how he worked. Every morning, he would join meetings on his computer and share his designs with his team. "Look at this," Marcus said one day, showing Jasmine his latest project. It was a beautiful school building with special features for children with different disabilities. There are ramps everywhere, wider hallways, and even a playground that children in wheelchairs can use. Jasmine felt proud of Marcus. While some people might have given up after such a bad accident, he had found a way to help others. His designs were making life easier for many disabled people. One Saturday, Marcus took Jasmine to see one of his finished buildings, a community center he had designed before his accident. As they went inside, Jasmine noticed Marcus looking sad. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I designed this place before my accident," he said quietly. "Now I can see all the things I did wrong. The ramps are too steep, and the bathroom doors are too narrow for wheelchairs. If I designed it today, I would do it very differently." Jasmine squeezed his hand. "Then maybe your accident happened for a reason," she said. "Now you can help build a world that works better for everyone." Her words gave Marcus an idea. The next day, he called his boss and asked to start a new program at work. He wanted to teach other architects how to design buildings that were better for disabled people. His boss loved the idea. Soon, Marcus was not just designing buildings, he was also teaching other architects. Every week, he held online classes where he shared what he had learned from being in a wheelchair. Jasmine would sometimes sit with him during these classes, amazed at how well he explained things. Marcus also taught Jasmine many things about living with a disability. She learned how to help him without making him feel helpless, and he showed her clever ways he had figured out to do things by himself. Together, they rearranged parts of his house to make everything easier to reach. "You know what's funny?" Marcus told her one evening as they cooked dinner together. "Before my accident, I was always too busy working to spend time with anyone. Now I've learned to slow down and enjoy the small moments. And that's how I found you." Jasmine smiled. thinking about how much they had both learned from each other. She had always thought being a nurse meant helping people get better. But Marcus had shown her that sometimes being different wasn't something that needed to be fixed. It was something that could make the world better in its own way. As they sat down to eat the dinner they had cooked together, Jasmine knew that this relationship was teaching her more about love, life, and understanding than she had ever expected to learn. Marcus spent 3 whole months planning the perfect way to ask Jasmine to marry him. He wanted it to be special, something she would remember forever. After much thought, he decided the hospital waiting room where they first met would be the perfect place. Early one morning, Marcus called Lisa, Jasmine's best friend who now fully supported their relationship. "I need your help," he told her. "I want to propose to Jasmine this Friday, but I can't set everything up by myself." Lisa was excited to help. She contacted all of Jasmine's coworkers, and soon, 20 people were part of the secret plan. Even Dr. Thompson, the head of the hospital, gave permission for them to decorate the waiting room. On Friday morning, while Jasmine was working her night shift in a different part of the hospital, Marcus's plan came to life. His brother helped him arrive early at 5 a.m. The cleaning staff, who were in on the surprise, had already cleared the waiting room. Everyone worked quickly and quietly. They covered the plain hospital walls with white curtains and hung strings of small, twinkling lights everywhere. Marcus had ordered 50 roses in different colors, and Lisa arranged them in beautiful vases around the room. They placed battery-operated candles on every surface, making the room glow softly. Marcus's mother brought a small fountain that made peaceful water sounds, and someone played quiet violin music through a hidden speaker. They even sprayed a light rose fragrance in the air to hide the usual hospital smell. The hardest part was keeping Jasmine away. Her supervisor, Nancy, made sure to keep her busy with paperwork in the pediatric ward. Jasmine had no idea what was happening just 2 floors below. At 7 a.m., just before Jasmine's shift was supposed to end, Lisa went to get her. "Jasmine, there's something wrong with a patient in the waiting room," Lisa said, trying to sound serious. "They're asking for you specifically." Jasmine hurried to the waiting room, worried about the patient. But when she opened the door, she stopped in surprise. The room where she had first met Marcus had been transformed into a beautiful garden. The morning sunlight streaming through the windows made all the lights sparkle. In the middle of the room sat Marcus in his wheelchair, wearing a new suit. Behind him stood their families and friends, all smiling with tears in their eyes. The patient chairs had been moved to make a path to him, and it was covered with rose petals. "Jasmine," Marcus said, his voice shaking a little, "1 year ago, in this very room, you dropped your files right here." He pointed to the spot on the floor. "That was the best accident of my life. Before I met you, I thought my accident had taken away my chance at happiness. But you showed me that true love doesn't see limitations. It sees possibilities." Marcus pulled out a small box from his jacket pocket. Inside was a beautiful ring with a diamond surrounded by small sapphires. Jasmine's favorite color. "You didn't just help me learn to live again," he continued, tears now rolling down his cheeks. "You taught me how to love again. Every day with you is a gift, and I want to spend the rest of my life unwrapping that gift. Jasmine Taylor, will you marry me?" The whole room held its breath. Jasmine was crying too, her hands covering her mouth in surprise. After what seemed like forever, she nodded and said yes, so loudly that people in the hallway could hear her. Everyone in the room cheered as Marcus put the ring on Jasmine's finger. Their families rushed forward to hug them, and even some patients who had gathered at the door clapped and wiped away tears. That morning, the hospital waiting room wasn't just a place where people waited for doctors. It was where 2 hearts decided to share one life forever. Planning a wedding is never easy, but Jasmine and Marcus were determined to create a perfect day that represented both of them. They started their wedding planning 6 months before their big day, sitting at their favorite cafe with a big notebook and lots of ideas. "The first thing we need to find is the right venue," Jasmine said, making a list. "It needs to be somewhere beautiful but also easy for you to move around." They visited 5 different places before finding the perfect one, a modern garden venue called the Glass House. It had smooth, flat pathways throughout the garden and no steps anywhere. The owner had actually worked with Marcus before, as Marcus had helped design some of the accessible features of the building. "This is perfect," Marcus said as they looked around. "Look, they even have a special ramp leading up to where we'll say our vows." Choosing their wedding colors was fun. They picked royal blue and silver, colors that looked beautiful against both their skin tones. Jasmine's mother helped them find African fabrics in these colors to use as table decorations, mixing them with classic white linens to create something unique. The biggest challenge was planning their first dance. Marcus worried about this part the most, but Jasmine had a surprise for him. She had been secretly taking wheelchair dance lessons with their old friend David, the dance instructor. "We don't need to stand to have a beautiful first dance," she told Marcus. "We just need to move our hearts together." They practiced for weeks, creating a special dance that combined traditional wedding dance moves with graceful wheelchair movements. Marcus would spin Jasmine while moving his wheelchair in smooth circles, and she would dance around him like a butterfly. It was different from typical wedding dances, but it was perfectly them. For their wedding outfits, they had to think carefully. Marcus needed a suit that would look good while he was sitting, so they found a talented tailor who understood exactly what they needed. The tailor made special adjustments to the suit so it wouldn't bunch up in the wheelchair. Jasmine chose a beautiful white dress that had two parts: a long, formal skirt for the ceremony that she could remove to reveal a shorter skirt for their wheelchair dance. Her sisters helped her try on 15 different dresses before finding this perfect one. They'd also planned special touches to honor both their cultures. They would jump the broom, an African-American wedding tradition, but they modified it so Marcus could participate. They created a small ramp where they would roll over the broom together, symbolizing their union in their own unique way. The food menu was another adventure. They decided to have both soul food and traditional European dishes, representing both their backgrounds. The cake maker created a beautiful design that included architectural elements for Marcus and medical symbols for Jasmine, telling their story in sugar and frosting. One evening, while they were stuffing wedding invitations, Marcus looked worried. "What's wrong?" Jasmine asked. "I just want everything to be perfect for you," he said. "Sometimes I feel bad that we have to change so many traditional things because of my wheelchair." Jasmine put down the invitations and took his hands in hers. "Marcus, we're not changing things, we're creating new traditions. Every change we make shows how much we love each other and how we solve problems together. That's what marriage is all about." Their families helped a lot with the planning. Marcus's younger sister took charge of coordinating all the vendors, making sure everything would be accessible and run smoothly. Jasmine's brother, who was good with computers, created a beautiful wedding website where they shared their love story. As the wedding day got closer, everything was coming together beautifully. Their special day wouldn't be like any other wedding their guests had been to before. It would be uniquely theirs, celebrating their love story in all its beautiful differences. The morning of the wedding dawned bright and clear, as if nature itself was celebrating Jasmine and Marcus's special day. At her parents' house, Jasmine woke up early, butterflies dancing in her stomach. Her sisters and bridesmaids arrived at 6 a.m., filling the house with excited laughter and happy tears. "You look like an angel," Jasmine's mother said as she helped her daughter get ready. The wedding dress was perfect, ivory white with delicate lace details. The seamstress had added tiny blue crystals that sparkled when Jasmine moved, matching their wedding colors. Her hair was styled in elegant braids with small white flowers woven through them. Meanwhile, at his brother's house, Marcus was also getting ready. His best man helped him into his specially tailored suit, dark blue with silver details. They had practiced many times how to put on the suit while making sure it looked perfect in the wheelchair. Marcus's brother even added a special pocket in the jacket where Marcus could keep Jasmine's ring easily within reach. "You nervous?" his brother asked while fixing Marcus's tie. "A little," Marcus admitted. "But in a good way. I've never been more sure about anything in my life." At the glass house, everything was ready. The garden paths were lined with blue and white flowers. Silver ribbons danced in the gentle breeze. The accessible ramp where they would say their vows was decorated with an arch of roses. Guests began arriving, filling the seats that were arranged in a circle so everyone could see well. Marcus arrived first, as planned. His wheelchair had been decorated with small white flowers and silver ribbons that matched the venue. He greeted guests as they arrived, his smile growing bigger as more people came to share their special day. Then came the moment everyone was waiting for. The music changed to a beautiful song that mixed traditional wedding music with African drums. All heads turned to watch Jasmine walk down the aisle with her father. When Marcus saw Jasmine, tears filled his eyes. She looked more beautiful than he had ever seen her. She walked slowly, her dress catching the sunlight, making her look like she was glowing. Her father's eyes were also full of tears as he guided her toward Marcus. Their vows were personal and heartfelt. Marcus went first, his voice strong and clear. Jasmine, when I thought I had lost everything, you showed me I had gained a new way of seeing the world. You never saw my wheelchair, you saw me, you danced with me, laughed with me, and showed me that love has no limitations. I promise to spend every day trying to make you as happy as you've made me. Jasmine's vows made everyone cry. Marcus, you taught me what true strength looks like. It's not about being able to walk. It's about getting up every day with a smile and making the world better for others. You've made my life richer, fuller, and more beautiful than I ever dreamed possible. I promise to be your partner, your friend, and your biggest supporter for all our days. When it was time to seal their vows, instead of the traditional kiss, they had planned something special. Marcus pulled Jasmine gently onto his lap, and they held each other close as their first married kiss made everyone cheer and applaud. The ceremony included both their cultures beautifully. They rolled over the broom together, shared cups of sweet wine, and had both families bless their union in their own traditional ways. There wasn't a dry eye in the crowd. As they moved to the reception area, Marcus and Jasmine couldn't stop smiling. The way they looked at each other made everyone believe in true love. Their wedding wasn't just a celebration of their love. It was proof that when two hearts truly connect, nothing can stand in their way. Sarah Chen had been a wedding photographer for 15 years, but she had never seen anything like this before. She was known for capturing special moments that other photographers might miss, which was why Jasmine and Marcus had chosen her for their wedding. Throughout the ceremony, Sarah took hundreds of pictures. She moved quietly around the garden, catching sweet moments between the couple. The way Marcus's eyes lit up when he first saw Jasmine, how Jasmine's hands trembled slightly as she said her vows, the tears in both their eyes during their first kiss as husband and wife. But something strange started happening when Sarah reviewed the pictures on her camera's small screen. At first, she thought there was something wrong with her camera. In every picture where Jasmine and Marcus were together, there seemed to be a soft, golden light surrounding them. Maybe it's just the sun, Sarah whispered to herself, moving to a different angle to take more pictures. But even when she photographed them in the shade, the same mysterious light appeared. During the reception, Sarah took pictures of their wheelchair dance. As Marcus spun Jasmine around, Sarah gasped at what she saw through her lens. The golden light had grown stronger, creating what looked like a pair of giant, shimmering wings behind them. She quickly checked her camera settings, but everything was normal. "Are you getting good pictures?" Jasmine's mother asked, coming up behind Sarah. Sarah didn't know what to say. Should she mention the strange light? Would they think she was crazy? She decided to wait until she could check the pictures properly on her computer. "Yes," she said simply. "Your daughter and Marcus are naturals in front of the camera." As the evening went on, Sarah noticed something even more amazing. In some of the pictures, especially when Marcus and Jasmine were laughing or looking deeply into each other's eyes, the golden light seemed to lift Marcus slightly out of his wheelchair. It wasn't obvious, just a subtle floating effect that made it look like love itself was trying to raise him up. Sarah had taken pictures at over 500 weddings. She had seen all kinds of special effects that lighting and shadows could create, but this was different. This light seemed to come from within Jasmine and Marcus, not from outside. Later that night, after most guests had left, Sarah was taking some final pictures of the couple under the stars. Through her camera, she saw the most incredible sight yet. As Marcus held Jasmine's hand, the golden light formed a perfect heart shape around them, and for just a moment, Marcus's wheelchair seemed to disappear completely in the glow. Sarah's hands shook as she took the picture. She had captured something truly extraordinary, something she couldn't explain, but somehow it made perfect sense. The love between Jasmine and Marcus was so pure and strong that it had become visible to her camera. Back at her studio that night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She spent hours looking through all the wedding pictures on her computer. Every single photo of the couple had that same magical quality. In some, it was subtle, just a soft glow around their faces. In others, it was dramatic, creating shapes that looked like wings, hearts, or halos. Sarah called her assistant, Maria, to come look at the pictures. "Have you ever seen anything like this?" she asked. Maria stared at the computer screen in amazement. "Never," she said. "It's like their love is actually visible in these photos." Sarah knew she had captured something special. These weren't just wedding pictures. They were proof that true love could create magic in the real world. She carefully backed up all the files, knowing that when Jasmine and Marcus saw these pictures, their lives would change forever. 2 weeks after the wedding, Jasmine and Marcus sat in Sarah Chen's photography studio, excited to see their wedding pictures. They had just returned from a short honeymoon at an accessible beach resort, where they had spent beautiful days watching the ocean and enjoying their first days as husband and wife. Sarah seemed nervous as she welcomed them. She had spent days thinking about how to show them these special photos. Finally, she had decided to start with the normal pictures and gradually move to the mysterious ones. "Are you ready to see your wedding photos?" Sarah asked, sitting them in front of a large computer screen. The first few pictures were beautiful but normal, shots of them getting ready, the decorated venue, and their families arriving. Jasmine and Marcus smiled as they remembered each moment. Then Sarah started showing the ceremony pictures. "Wait," Jasmine said suddenly, leaning closer to the screen. "What's that light around us?" Sarah took a deep breath. "I was hoping you'd notice that. It appeared in every picture where you two are together. At first, I thought there was something wrong with my camera, but..." She clicked to the next photo. Marcus gasped. The picture showed them during their first dance, and the golden light around them had formed what looked exactly like angel wings. The light seemed to lift Marcus slightly out of his wheelchair, making it appear as if he and Jasmine were floating together. "This is impossible," Marcus whispered, his eyes filling with tears. Sarah showed them more photos. In one picture, taken during their vows, the light formed a perfect heart around them. In another, during their first kiss as husband and wife, Marcus appeared to be standing, supported by pillars of golden light. "The strange thing is," Sarah explained, "I've checked these photos 100 times. They're completely real. No editing, no special effects. Whatever this light is, it showed up naturally in every picture." Jasmine was crying now, holding Marcus's hand tightly. "It's like the camera captured what I've always seen," she said softly. "When I look at you, Marcus, I don't see the wheelchair. I see your beautiful soul." Sarah clicked to the last picture, the one she had taken under the stars. In this photo, the golden light was so bright it seemed to transform the whole image. Marcus's wheelchair had disappeared completely in the glow, and both he and Jasmine appeared to be dancing together, surrounded by what looked like thousands of tiny stars. The room was quiet for a long moment as they all looked at the magical image. Then Marcus spoke, his voice full of emotion. "All my life, even before my accident, I wanted someone who could see the real me," he said. "Jasmine, you didn't just see me, you helped the whole world see me too." Sarah gave them copies of all the photos. Within a few days, their wedding pictures went viral on the internet. People from all over the world shared the photos, calling them the miracle wedding pictures. News stations wanted to interview them, and magazines wanted to tell their story. But for Jasmine and Marcus, the real miracle wasn't in the photos. The real miracle was their love. A love so strong it could be captured on camera, a love that proved that true connection goes far beyond what the eye can see. 1 month after seeing their wedding photos, Jasmine and Marcus started a foundation to help other couples with disabilities plan their dream weddings. They named it Love Lights the Way and used their famous wedding photos as their logo. Today, their photos hang in art galleries and museums around the world. People come from everywhere to see the pictures that prove love can create real magic. But if you ask Jasmine and Marcus about the miracle in their wedding photos, they'll just smile and say the same thing. The real miracle happens every day when two people choose to see past their differences and love each other completely. Sometimes, if you're really lucky, a camera catches that miracle on film.